Hello and welcome. This is Scott Van Wagner of Van Wagner Marketing Solutions, and I provide marketing as you need it. I wanted to spend a little bit of time with you today just to talk about the value and the importance of strategic planning. And in terms of starting that, there's a quote I like from John Burton at Boston College. It goes something along the lines of, the really great thing about not having a strategic plan is that when failure does arrive, it hasn't been preceded by a long period of worry and depression. And I think that kind of sums it up. I wanted to do a couple of things, though, build a little bit of a case for you just in terms of why you need to have strategic planning and some of the benefits for it. And so in terms of why it's important, if we look at something along the lines of Tom Peters, management guru, who in 1982 came up with a book, In Search of Excellence, in which he documented 43 of the absolute best companies in North America at that time and why they were absolutely excellent. And the point to note is that today none of those 43 companies exist. A similar study was done in Great Britain, and they ran it over 22 years, and it ran from 1980 through 2002. And in that study, what they looked at, they picked the actual best company in all of Great Britain for each one of those 22 years. And if we follow up on that one lately, what we find out is that 17 of the 22 companies in that study no longer exist. Pretty grim results. And when they actually went to look at it, as you can imagine, there's a number of reasons why companies might fall on tough times. But one of the key reasons they found that was common throughout was that there was a tendency to rely on tactics at the expense of strategy. And what that really resulted from is, in large successful companies, it's an issue of arrogance, in that they tend to rely on the fact that they've done well in the past and they just keep doing what they've been doing. And effectively they work with blinders on, and they don't really see what's coming. In small companies, they suffer as well from this issue about not really doing strategic planning or doing it very well, but for different reasons. With small companies, it tends to be resource issues where they don't have the time or they don't necessarily have the knowledge to put together appropriate strategic planning that would help them to grow and prosper. So in terms of what strategic planning actually does for you to help you get past all those potential failures and issues that you might run into, really the principal thing that strategic planning will do is it forces you to think. And it forces you to think about things in the external environment, even though we can't control them, like politics and regulation and the environment, the economy. It forces you to think about your customer, not only who they are, but where they may be going and how their values may be changing. It forces you to think about your competition as well, where they are and where they may be going. And when you've taken into account all of those things, then you need to look internally and understand your own strengths and weaknesses, work towards your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. And if you do that, then you're in a much better position for having going through that thought process to be able to identify the opportunities and the threats that are out there in the marketplace. So by going through that strategic planning process, it does position you much better to be far more successful and not fall prey to some of the blindsided issues that some of those very successful companies did. And that's where I can help. So if you think you're in need of some strategic planning assistance and some help in putting together a strategic plan, get in touch with me, Scott Van Wagner, Van Wagner Marketing Solutions, www.vwmarketingsolutions.ca. And you can also come to my website. I have a number of blogs and information as well related to strategic planning that might help. Thank you.